Hello everyone, welcome to the series of Mathematical Economics. This is Dr. Atman Shah. In the third part of this series, I'm going to discuss the set theory. So in the beginning, I will explain the meaning of set theory, and then I'm going to discuss the difference between finite and infinite sets, relationship between sets, and how we can use set theory in economics. You can find my videos on economics, SPSS, RStudio, econometrics, statistics on my YouTube channel. Links are given in the description. Let's begin with the meaning of set. So a set is a collection of distinct objects, and these objects can be numbers or something else. And we use curly braces to describe the set. See this example. Set of students enrolled in mathematical economics course. So here we have set A, which includes the name of students who have been enrolled in this course. So we can write names A, B, C, and D. So suppose we have 4 students who have enrolled in mathematical economics course, or we can use this mathematical language to describe the set. So A is a set of all X such that X is students enrolled in mathematical economics course. Let's take second example, favorite movies. So set B includes the name of favorite movies. So suppose you have 3 names E, F, and G. So B is a set of all X such that X is name of favorite movies. So this is how we write sets. So the objects are known as the elements of the set. So you can see A, B, C, and D are elements of set A. Similarly, E, F, and G are elements of set B. Now let's understand the difference between finite set and infinite set. See this example. A is equal to X such that 3 less than X less than 7. So we can write the elements of A such that 4, 5, and 6. So here number of elements in set A is equal to 3, which is written as n in bracket A. Suppose B is equal to X such that 10 less than X less than 15. So B is equal to 11, 12, 13, and 14. And therefore, number of elements in set B is equal to 4. And suppose you have empty set, you don't have any elements, which is also denoted by 5. So number of C is equal to 0. So here we have the total number of elements. And therefore set A and set B are known as finite sets. So a set with finite number of elements is known as a finite set. On the other hand, suppose we have set D, which includes all positive integers. So D is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 up to infinity. Or suppose X includes whole numbers. So it starts from 0 and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 up to infinity. So here we don't have total number of elements. And therefore set D and E are known as infinite set. So a set with infinite number of elements is known as infinite set. So here we have this difference, finite set versus infinite set. Now let's understand the relationship between sets. So first relationship is equal set. Both sets are equal. So let's see this example. X is equal to 1, A, 2, and B, and Y is equal to 1, 2, A, and B. So here X and Y have the same elements. Order doesn't matter. Both sets have equal elements, and therefore they are known as equal sets. And you can write X is equal to Y. On the other hand, we have the idea of disjoint sets. See this example. X is equal to 1A, 2B, and Y is equal to 5, 6, 8. So here X and Y don't have any elements in common, and therefore they are known as disjoint sets. So X is not equal to Y. So this is the idea of equal set and disjoint sets. Now let's understand the idea of subset. One set can be a subset of another set. Let's understand the idea of subset with the help of example. Suppose x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and y is equal to 2 and 4. So here you can observe that each element of y is also an element of x. So first element of y is 2. So 2 belongs to y and x both. Similarly, 4 also belongs to y and x both. So therefore, each element of y is also an element of x. And therefore, we can write that y is a subset of x. See this example. Suppose set I includes all inferior goods. We know the concept of inferior goods and given goods. And set G includes all given goods. Set I includes all inferior goods. Set G includes all given goods. Now we know that all given goods are inferior goods, but all inferior goods are not given goods. Since all given goods are inferior goods, we can write that given goods is a subset of, the set of given goods is a subset of inferior goods set. And therefore, G is a subset of I. Now, do not get confused between the belongs to symbol and subset symbol. Belongs to is used for individual element. See here what we are saying, 2 belongs to y or 4 belongs to y. So we are using this belongs to sign or symbol for individual element and subset symbol for the entire set and not for the individual element. Now, how many subsets can we form with the available information, with the available set? So suppose we have set Z which is equal to 1, 3 and 5. So we have 3 elements in set Z. So how many subsets of set Z can be formed? So first we can write each individual element as a subset of Z. So we have 3 elements, 1, 3 and 5. Then we can make a pair. So first pair is 1 and 3. Second pair is 3 and 5. And third pair is 1 and 5. The set itself is a subset of Z. And then we have empty set. So if you can count, we have 8 number of subsets. 3 individual elements. Then we have 3 pairs. So 6 plus set itself 7 and empty set 8. So number of subsets is equal to 8, which can be written as 2 raised to 3. So in general, if a set has n elements, the number of subsets is equal to 2 raised to n. So in this example, we have 3 elements and therefore number of subsets is 2 raised to 3, that is 8. So you can find the number of subsets with the help of this formula, that is 2 raised to n. Now, how we can use the idea of set in economics? So now we are aware of the idea of budget constraint. We know the idea of budget set or price line. Suppose M is consumer's income, XPX is the amount that consumer spends on commodity X, and YPY is the amount the consumer spends on commodity Y. So this is our budget constraint equation, that is XPX plus YPI is less than or equal to M. So we can write this as B, that is budget constraint, is a set of X and Y such that XPX plus YPY is less than or equal to M, and X is greater than or equal to 0 and Y is greater than or equal to 0. So this means that amount of money spent on commodity X plus the amount of money spent on commodity Y must be no more than the total amount of money that consumer spends, that is M. See this diagram. On horizontal axis, we have commodity X. On vertical axis, we have commodity Y. And this is our budget set. And yellow line shows the budget line or price line. Now, what is the meaning of price line? So price line shows the combinations of X and Y that exactly costs Y, exactly costs M, that is total income. So on budget line or on price line, the equation is XPX plus YPY is equal to M. Right? All income is exhausted. Consumer spends all of his or her income onto commodities on price line or on budget line. And below PL, the shaded area shows the combinations of X and Y that cost lower than M, lower than the income that consumer has. So the budget set consists of all combinations that are affordable at given prices PX and PY and income M. So this is how we can use the idea of set theory in economics. So I've discussed the meaning of set theory, the difference between finite and infinite sets, relationship between sets in which we have discussed the idea of equal sets, disjoint sets, and subset. And in the end of this video, I have discussed the idea of budget constraint or budget set. If you find this video useful, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.